right, you've seen Frank Ferrante in Cabaret Zazu, Teatro Zinzani, and now he's starring in a brand new show, Caesar Circus, making its world premiere right here in Chicagoland. Frank, it is so great to see you.
Really is a treat. It's good to be back. Great to see you too.
I always love when you bring a show to Chicago, and it's always a sad moment when you're like, this is the end of it. I'm leaving town, but I'm always so happy when you return. You're a Chicagoan. We love to have you back here.
Rudy, I feel the same way. I mean, last time I was here was I was here doing Groucho in January, but about a year ago I was doing Cabaret Zazu. And, it's always a bit heartbreaking to leave the cities because I make friends, audiences, merchants, media, the cast. So, you can't help but feel it. But I'm excited to return. So here.
We've got a brand new show, Caesar Circus. Tell us a little bit about it. It's making its world premiere here right in Chicagoland, especially right around the holidays. It's going to be here for Thanksgiving week.
I know. I'm so excited. It's at the Northshore Performing Arts Center there in Skokie. And we're playing a week during the thing. We figured that'd be a great time for families to see it. My family lives out here, my brother and his family. My kids both go to school at DePaul, so they'll be here during that time. So I have a real Chicago connection, Rudy, as you I think already knew. But the show is, I'm returning as the Caesar character, which is hanging right behind me, who's this wild Latin lover, very interactive comic performance, outrageous, over the top. I bring people on stage, those who want to go on stage and have fun with them. But I'm in essence, Rudy, I'm the ringmaster, and it really is a variety show and more of a vaudeville, and it's very quirky. We're going to have all kinds of odd acts this time. From an animal act to Ariel to a great local singer we've got lined up, a great comedy magician who's never played Chicago proper. So it basically, the premise is we're a wild, wacky troupe of performers that travel through the country looking for a place to live, to claim as their own. So Skokie is our first town, and that's the premise. And then we set up shop, and then we take over the theater. And that's the idea, that we're this traveling, roving, itinerant group of wacky performers. And yours truly is going to lead the charge.
All right, I want to ask you some more questions about the show, but we have to talk about the painting behind you. I want to know everything about it. Who made it? When did you have it done? Where is it sitting in your house?
Okay, so this painting is by a gentleman by the name of Mark Stock, and he is a listed painter, and he's an exhibited artist, and he was based in San Francisco, and he was a big fan of Teatro Zinzani and all the characters that inhabited that show, and he opted to paint me, and so I received it from him along with a couple other paintings that he did of my characters. So Mark has since passed. He gave this to me on my 50th birthday, but he's a genius, so I think I thought it'd be worth having in the background just to show you. And but that's the story. It's actually quite enormous. It's like about 5 by 6. It's huge. And my kids really got freaked out having to sit across it every meal. So there you have it. But a replica of it that a Jacquet that used to hang at Zinzani in Seattle and San Francisco too. So yeah, I love it. It's fun. It makes me smile. I get to see the seas all the time.
And especially too, it's such a character that people love, as part of the show and part of the things that you do. But seeing him at your home, I'm sure always gives you inspiration of we can't leave Caesar behind. Let's find a new way, to bring him to the stage.
Well, I'm a lover of comedy and theater, of course. And so I have memorabilia, not just from my work, but from, people that I've loved over the years, great comedians and performers. Some are here, some are no longer with us. So my whole place, I had a friend, it was Groucho Marx's daughter-in-law, who said, Frank, wherever you look in your home, it should make you smile. And she was an interior designer, and she knew. So everywhere I look, I say, oh, that's a hat from a friend. That's a painting that so-and-so gave me. So this guy makes me smile. So, and I'm happy to say that I think he's made a lot of folks smile over the years. He's been a great friend to me. I've been doing the character now for 20, going on 25 years, since 2001. So it's been a while.
So that's awesome. We got to do something special for the 25th anniversary.
Yes, party at Rudy's.
Party at Rudy's. Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and make that happen. As far as the show and the performers, some familiar faces that we've seen before, some new faces. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, the show has a critical player in it, in Andrea Weber, who's been a longtime colleague of mine for 15 years, and she's directed Teatro Zinzani and Cabaret Zazu, and she's also performed. She's a world famous aerialist, and she's also the choreographer, Pink's aerial choreographer. She created all of Pink's numbers that she does in the air, all her aerial, and Pink is going to be in Chicago this weekend, I gather. I'm not sure when this is being broadcast, but I know Pink will be at Soldier Field, and Drea, for your your followers who are paying attention, Drea's work is in Pink's concerts and all the new apparatus. So Drea Weber will be doing the aerials and directing and writing the show, and she's brilliant. And the last show you saw me in, that was all Drea Weber. She did it all. She directed it, she wrote it, and she helped me develop my material for Caesar and Forte. So yeah, so that she's an anchor, I'm an anchor, and then we have acts from Chicago. I can't give all the names yet because they're not signed on the dotted line yet. We've got a local singer, we've got a great like I said, comedy magician, we got tumblers. We can have an animal act. It's gonna be outrageous and a lot of fun. I mean, and it's a 2-act show. First act will be 50 minutes. Second act about 40. A tight 90-minute show with intermission. Kind of a perfect holiday show.
It's a perfect holiday show, and especially too, I think when I think of these vaudeville shows or cabaret shows, and especially that feeling of being in the past, and you really capture that essence of these performers, because what you have done, and what the performers that are around you have done, is kind of create a special experience that like we normally haven't gotten in the Chicagoland area, and so many people from out of town, so many locals here, just enjoy having that experience.
Oh, it makes me happy because it is, the best compliment, one of the best compliments I ever received was from, I'm going to drop a name and it's going to hit the ground hard. But it was Sean Penn once said to me, he goes, "Frank, you've got 1 foot in yesterday and 1 foot in today, and you make it all your own." And that's what we try to do with the whole form of this kind of circus variety form is to hearken to yesterday's kind of the romance of it, the style, the brashness, the bottom line is it needs to be a big laugh show. That's why I'm another performer who's extremely funny, who I've always wanted to work with for the last 20 plus years. I finally was able to get him in this show, and I think you're going to love this guy. His name is David Kaplan. And he's a renowned comic magician. He plays at the Magic Castle. And so he's going to, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it yet, but you're the first to hear. He's going to be in it. So he's a silent clown, and I'm a very verbal clown. So we have 2 different styles of comedy that harken to the classic kind of era of 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, kind of a vintage vibe, So, and then we're going to have, the cast runs, and then we have these very young tumblers and who are also jugglers. So we've got these 20-somethings, we've got me. So we got a range of types, backgrounds. It's a very diverse group of wild performers.
And there are a couple of interactive moments in the show. If somebody wants to buy a ticket and maybe participate or have a family member, what do they kind of need to do? Should they kind of dress up a little bit more? Should they try to sit more in the front? Like what are your tips for fans?
Question. Some people don't want to be picked, and I've gotten really good at avoiding those people. And the ones that are smiling and laughing, I'll bring on stage. Sometimes people will actually write the theater or write me, find me online and say, "Would you pick? It's my mother's birthday, or it's my father's birthday, or it's my fiance's, it's our anniversary." So that's one way to get to me. You can write the theater, you can write the Northshore Arts Center, the center there. I can also tell just by the enthusiasm of a crowd, But you also know and a lot of people don't want to be. I never like being brought up, so I'm really good. People are safe with when I'm on stage because I've gotten very good over. I've been doing interactive comedy, Rudy, for 40 years since I started doing the Groucho show. So you get good at picking people and leaving others alone.
Yeah, no, I've seen this, your various shows maybe 6 or 7 times, and it's always a different whether it might be somebody's birthday, somebody younger, an older. I think one of the most touching moments was there was an older woman with a walker, and she kind of made those steps up there. She did a little dance with you, and like just seeing that smile on her face, like I think just everybody in the room just like lit up.
Yeah, thank you for remembering that. That was, that's the thing. What I try to do, what we really thought about with this particular, because there were lots of variety shows out there in the world, and I've done a lot of them. But we wanted this one to be a little quirkier, a little different, so we have an odd array of characters. And I like to surprise people, Rudy. So no one expects me to pull up a woman on a walker. And you have to be patient. And the audience doesn't know, they're holding their breath until I get them on to center and they see, I think that I have a certain amount of confidence with most people I bring up. And so she, all the years kind of just disappear when you bring someone into the spotlight. But I brought up children, older people. That is part of the beauty of this type of entertainment and the kind of comedy that I do. That is brash, but I was a gerontology minor, study of aging, when I was in college. So I have a lot of empathy for older people too. So I have a delicate touch with older audiences, but also children. As a dad, I bring up kids sometimes as well. I've had kids go head to head with me in a dance competition, and that's been equally exhilarating. It never gets old for me, Rudy, doing this kind of comedy. And you got back to Chicago liking it. Chicago has such a long history of vaudeville and Broadway touring shows and originating shows, of course. Yeah. And in comedy, improv comedy, of course, Second City and other troops that have come through here. Chicago knows. And the audience in Chicago you can't BS a Chicago audience. Either they like you or they don't like you. And when they embrace you, they embrace you. I have to say, some of the most, I've been doing this since '85 professionally. Some of the most beautiful experiences I had were in Chicago, performing the circus shows, Zinzani and Zazu, and also doing my one-man Groucho show in the suburbs. I've played probably 35 suburbs out, in Chicago, and I've played Chicago proper. In fact, I'll be back in Chicago October 5th and 6th in Munster, in the area, and at the theater at the center. So I'll be there. So, and my daughter's doing stand-up tonight, at the Lincoln Lodge. I mean, we have the Ferrantes have become really adopted family, and we've been treated so well. And people always ask me about different cities because I played over 500 cities, Rudy.
Yeah.
And I could be in Chicago if it worked out for decades. If there was employment there, that's how comfortable I felt there. So
yeah, no, it's always funny because I try to make like small talk with the people that are always around me, and sometimes you'll talk to somebody who's like, "Oh, this is my second or third time," and then you'll be next to someone who is visiting for the first time and they wanted to see some comedy. They heard something about the show, so it's always interesting to see like who comes to the shows, and especially a funny family like yours. And I love that your daughter's also in comedy. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, well, she's grown up around this kind of in the theater, in the circus, and she's shy, and like I am. I'm actually an observer, but I realized that she was observing and studying, and so now it's starting to come out of her, and she's cutting her teeth in Chicago. And again, I'm grateful to Chicago for these experiences, and of course the kind of feedback we've gotten from audiences. The only way you can come back is if audiences deem you entertaining. So hoping that they remember.
No, they definitely are going to remember. And remember to go ahead and get those tickets. They are on sale now for Caesar Circus, November 27th through December 1st at the Northshore Center for Performing Arts in Skokie, northshorecenter.org. Frank, always so great to see you, and we'll see you in Chicagoland very, very soon.
I can't wait, Rudy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.